on
North.
And this is the revamped, slightly less isolated on 9-10 line version.
Yeah, the new version, which is it's kind of tricksy, and we've my clan's played this quite a few times on clan battles in the last season, and the compared to the old version of the map, those channels do offer some opportunities for ships like Minotaurs and Des Moines in the late game to sneak into positions that you wouldn't have expected them to appear in the old version of the map because they simply couldn't get there.
At least not without losing about 3/4.
No, absolutely. So there is some sneak opportunity towards the end game. I think at the beginning of the game, it's a fairly similar map to the old one, pretty much.
Yeah. Right. And it's certainly one of those maps that often tends to turn into almost a corridor shoot, because you have got some very clearly defined north-south bylanes, not much running east to west.
Yeah, I think those mountains are pretty high, and you can only really shoot something that's directly at the other end of it, and torps as well. You can only torp in a straight line down them, and so getting torps that spread out down those channels is actually quite tricky. So
I mean, the real game changer on this map when it was revamped was the addition of that channel just east of B, running north to south.
Mm-hmm.
So that lets a destroyer or a cruiser slip into the flank. But if you get caught there, you've got nowhere to go.
You can certainly put something stealthy at the top end of it and spot stuff as it goes past the other end. That's for sure.
C, of course, as much as always was. Worth noting, there is more maneuvering room on the split east of C, but this is still very much a no battleships over there, please.
Yeah, and in randoms, you quite often see people going down the outside, good players going down the outside and then capping from the edge.
I've done it a load of times myself.
So it'll be interesting to see if we see any of the clans, any of the teams trying that capping strategy.
I think what we'll see is the aircraft taking a quick look at there around about the 3-4 minute mark in the game, just see if anyone has committed. But I don't think we will. I think what we'll see is a push into A early and a look at C. Maybe a try to set up a denying force in B, because B turns into a shooting gallery if you try to catch that in the early game.
I think this map is fairly, strategically is fairly similar to Warrior's Path. Or is it Warrior's Path or Trap? No, Trap. Where the B cap is the one where there's going to be a Mexican standoff. You've got an open cap and then a cap that's got lots of cover around it. It's conceptually quite similar, and so I think we might see something similar with an initial rush for the flanking caps, and then a Mexican standoff around B, basically.
I could go with that, but I think we'll see a very slow first half of the game. The first 5 minutes in particular, it's going to be a question of who decides to just probe in, maybe take that risk, maybe not. So we'll see. With, of course, again, the carrier positioning has been tweaked. So that does mean that the planes will take a little longer to get into the air. Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see whether
slow first 5, and then things will, when they happen, they will happen very quickly.
It'd be interesting to see which direction the carriers go first. I know they'll do like a general sweep, but whether they, as you said, whether they then focus on checking that nothing's flanking Charlie, or whether they get advance warning of what's going into Alpha. It'd be interesting to see which way they go with that.
In their position, given that it's going to take a while for any flank down the 9-10 line to be obvious, I would sweep A first, then run across to C and have a look. So
we're just being asked if we're ready. I just said yes.
Yep.
And we go.
Cool. Right. Let us rock and or roll and see what the teams have got.
Oh, no carrier on your side.
Yeah. Oh, well, there's always one.
Interesting. Interesting.
No destroyer.
Wow, that's an interesting
SHEN
setup.
have fielded one gearing, FRF have not fielded anything but cruisers and battleships. I don't want to say turkey shoot, but I think we might be about to get a demonstration of why you need a carrier in even the revamp King of the Sea. For the moment, though, it's headbutting time.
Absolutely. Let's get on with it. My favourite part. Do you know what? When I was applying to become a CC, this was like the thing that I was imagining in my head, like as the goal to go for. This moment right here, I'm thinking, yeah, one day I'd quite like to be doing the ramming at the beginning of a King of the Seas thing, and here I am. So that's cool.
Commit suicide in public. Okay, I won't argue your taste of entertainment.
Right, so we're going to have the massive spotting advantage on the Shen side.
Yes,
the planes are already over B.
Yes, and Firebird is no, there he is. He's got his throttle up. I was wondering for a second if somebody had failed to load in and was going to have to call an abort. Really, Chrome, you want to notify me now?
PC sitting
Okay, so interesting. FRF are not really looking at A at all. They
Moskva already. Labaguette already half health. He is under massive fire, turning away.
Got caught broadside, and I think Gremlin's Gizmo probably is just starting to realise how big an opportunity he's been handed on this composition.
Absolutely. They are going to really struggle without being able to see.
Yes, and Flylab is going to be able to wait a moment. Bonjour, Quia Plante. Restart is being called.
Okay.
Maybe that wasn't in general chat.
Yes, they've called a restart.
Restart is being called.
No problem.
So I think somebody failed to load. And our Des Moines is crashed, so they are down one. Shen have confirmed okay for restart, so we are going to see an abort in approximately 5 seconds. So pull out of the map and swing back to the screen, exit to port. That's perfectly legit in the first 2 minutes, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. World of Warships does occasionally go janky on us, so if it's in, I believe, the first 2 or 3 minutes of the game, either side can call a restart. That will reset the map. It's in a training room, so the ships, once the aborted battle finishes, will become available again, and we can reset the position in a couple of minutes. Okay, so I said when we were chatting about this yesterday that there's always one team that doesn't take a carrier. And
that's them. Yeah, I wonder. Presumably, the rules say that if you restart, you have to take the same lineup that you took in. Yeah,
you have to take the same comp.
So even if they've just realised that they made a mistake, they now can't change it.
They cannot. No. The rules are quite clear on this. Once you have submitted your line, once the green button has been pressed, you're committed. And there's a bit of chatter in the training room chat. So
I think some people have failed to leave the battle. So
right.
There we go.
There we go. There's the abort. And we are good to restart, and everyone is resetting their positions. So we saw the initial plan, and we saw what happened when one of those Moskvas accidentally went broadside. I think there might have been a roundhouse kick involved, but let's see. Just resetting the position. Both teams are looking ready. Streamers are ready, and we are go for the restart.
So I wonder if FRF will do anything different to counter the fact that they're going to be spotted so early.
I don't think there's very much they can do. They're
going to get spotted.
Gremlins can just back off, sit back, run the spotting, and
if I were that, if I were the Moskva though, I wouldn't. Or is it Stalingrad? The Stalingrad, I wouldn't give quite so much broadside so early.
The problem is, I think their plan is mostly to try and smash C quick and get onto a flank. And he's really got to turn hard to make that maneuver work at the start of the map. He's right out in front. He's going to get spotted, and he's got to make a long run on the G line to get into position on C. He's got no choice. He's got to show that broadside.
But I think they've got to time it so that they turn when the carrier isn't there. So after that first run,
How?
yeah, well, it's very difficult.
How? That's
Absolutely,
entirely in the carrier's control.
they
He
have
can just loiter.
they put themselves in a very difficult position, FRF, by not bringing a carrier. Because yeah, they're just,
They've got no counter air.
you know, in the in the grand scheme of things, that they've got no eyes and the other team have. So
Yeah. And in fact, we are seeing a change of strategy from FRF now.
yeah.
Two of the Moskvas, Segal and Baguette, are pushing off towards A. The Republic is going with them to provide some anti-air.
Okay, here come the planes.
And the rest of the team is pushing for C. And yeah, well, let's see how wrong this goes. And there's an early smoke cloud. Someone's clearly thinking, yes, as one of my chat just commented, well, will have commented 5 minutes ago, who's up for the Great Grand Marianas Shoot Part 2? Because Gremlins has dropped a fighter to provide a little temporary spotting while he circles around for his attack run, but
Yeah,
Tier 10 flak fighters, they go splat.
you can see that the cruisers of FRF have definitely been told not to go sideways so early. Although Baguette, the same Moskva that got whacked earlier, has been whacked again.
Yes, and I don't know if he's got a busted engine because he is not moving flank. And yeah, the Burgoyne, I think, is just sitting back and smacking its chops. He's trying to angle against Garp, but in doing so, he's going broadside to Ali 2016's Burgoyne. Actually, no, is it Yoshi? It's Yoshi 69's Burgoyne.
Yes.
Oh, and there's another Stalingrad shooting at him as well.
Everything.
Well, I think this might be over quickly for
Yeah, he's down.
Yeah, there he goes. Ralin Rister jumps in, and this is what we're going to see for the rest of this game, you realise.
They'll now move that focus onto the Republic of Forban, I would imagine.
I think they'll switch on to Forban and just go for the massacre. At this point, all that the East Force can do is hope that Forban and Seagull die slowly enough that they can get through C and round onto the flank and start evening the odds, because with no spotting, they're going to have real trouble even shooting back, never mind actually hitting anything.
Republic is... I can see the Republic of Forban hesitating as to whether to turn away or whether to turn in.
Yeah, he tried to get some shots on to... It was either Ghost or Stalin. It was Ghost. And yeah, Forban at this point, as you say, really is between a rock and a hard place. 20,000, 18,000.
FRF making a push into Charlie here, being fairly aggressive. Panzer Nubish pushing up.
I would say that's their only hope, go absolute all in on Charlie, but they're not doing that.
No.
The Yamato and the Montana can't decide what they're doing either. The Firebird's actually heading into the Alley of Death himself. He's running west from the 6th line. The cruisers are in C in a high and dry with no heavy fire support. And Alcei is pushing up the stealth channel in the Moskva, but I don't know what he's going to do when he gets to the other side. Interestingly,
the Des Moines of Panzer Nubish is being left on his own by the Des Moines of Meg TGP.
His battleship support is a good 10 kilometers back.
Yeah, I think
absolutely high and dry. Forban's just gone down to torpedoes from the Hakuryu. Gizmo clearly couldn't resist getting a little blood himself. And now that Seagull's bow in and stopped, well, hey, torpedo bombers.
And I think Nubish just, he realised that he'd overextended, and he has actually managed to pull it back there, and he's reversed back into relative safety. But Moskva, Casey over on Alpha, as you say, is just going to get steamrolled here because it's 4-on-1.
Well, it's not in fact, he's got nowhere to go. If he tries to turn to dodge the torpedoes coming from the Hakuryu, then he's got to go broadside to a Burgoyne and 2 Stalingrads. His own guns are largely ineffective because of either armor or angling. He's got no options, as you say. He's got one option, and that's the lifeboats, but yeesh.
He's going to need those in a second.
Yeah, he is, isn't he? Here come the airplanes again. 2 more in the water, and I think that's going to be in the kitchen for this one. That's him.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he's down. So that's Alpha definitely in the hands of SHEN there. They're not bothering with Bravo because I don't think they just don't see the need at the moment.
And Alcei has come to the same horrible realization that I got to a couple of minutes ago. He can get through the stealth channel east of B, but he's got nowhere to go when he gets to the other end. Amazingly, Panzer isn't dead yet.
I know he fair play to him. He actually managed to pull that back and recover from that what was definitely a misplay in terms of pushing through there. But Alcey, it looks like, is just parked. Yeah, he's just parked. Although
again, he's got nowhere to go. But the Hakuryu's AP bombers are going to say, "Thank you for the target practice." Here comes the dive
and some Bourgogne shells.
He's angled. Those won't do too much.
Unlike the AP bombs,
on the other hand,
yeah, Russian cruisers and AP bombs, not a good combination unless you're the carrier.
Yeah. That said, Gremlin's exit from that run didn't cost him his second and third attack so he's aborted the run and pulled back.
Alcey has obviously decided that he's a bit uncomfortable in that gap, so he's decided to go forwards, which is an interesting decision.
Well, going backwards was going to take him too long, but again, okay, good news, you've successfully traversed the channel.
Now you're in the middle of their front line. So
yeah. And you've got a Worcester and a Bourgogne looking at you.
Meanwhile, Stalingrad of what's that say? YLab is coming under similar broadside fire from the blob that's now leaving Alpha.
Yes, I would honestly.
That was a whack. Position, he's going to be down now. He's getting a heal in.
Yeah, Flylab's getting hammered, but the Minotaur's rapid fire backer into the superstructure just does for him. And over on the south side, the two battleships, who I suspect might be regretting their decision to hang back from their cruisers, are now, well, yeah, Yamato is being introduced to Russian and French AP on the broadside. She is angling, though, so gets away with the worst of it, mostly.
Yeah, she's going to, I think Firebird's going to be able to last that for a little while, but...
Firebird's going to be able to ride that for a while. Problem is, with only one turret in the game, he can't exactly return fire.
Yamato not known for its kiting ability, that's for sure.
No. And in fact, the problem with Yamato is that the rear citadel has also got that vulnerable 45-degree slope.
Yeah, absolutely. And even without that, the Bourgogne is able to pen the rear quite nicely and is getting some good pen damage there.
Potentially going straight through the hangar deck. Panzer luck is finally running out. He takes a carrier torpedo from behind. The Bourgogne is pushing in, has the second dose in play, but it's the Worcester that does it. And we have a tabled game. Ladies and gentlemen, that was... yeah. Emphatic win for SHEN there.
I can't say I'm surprised, to be honest. But that decision by FRF to not take a carrier was their death knell. I mean, that was just a silly decision, I think. And I
think we have settled the question of whether or not you can get away without a carrier in the new meta.
We also have to remember that was a fairly mismatched match in the sense that SHEN are one of the top teams and FRF are relatively unknown.
And it showed in their manoeuvring.
I would be interested to see two of the top teams with one of them not have a carrier. That would be interesting.
I
still think the advantage would be with the carrier, but I don't think it would be...
I don't think you'd see a top team without a carrier, basically. The spotting was just too useful.
No, absolutely
and
not.
It also showed, because I was puzzled, their battleships, FRF's battleships, really hung back. They were 10 kilometer separation. I was expecting about 5. And as a result, the two Des Moines in sea were high and dry when SHEN's cruisers engaged them.
And the combination of the battleships too far back to provide support and that one Des Moines pushing too far forwards, Noobish, I think was, that was just a misplay. They should have been a little bit more cautious with the cruisers and they should have been a little bit more aggressive with the battleships.
I agree with you a little bit more aggressive on the battleships, but really, once they realised that they had conceded the air war and were going to get hammered if they hung back, which I don't think they necessarily did, they needed to go all in.
But
they
really decision
needed to close the range, get it to open water, and just take the air spotting out of the equation.
But the decision to push with one of the Des Moines and kite with the other Des Moines, that to me, it feels like two players who are choosing what to do without being given enough direction.
You noticed that as well. That felt to me like their command and control breaking down.
Yeah, and I recognise that from... I know that some of my clan are watching, and Sometimes we experience that where we're all individually very good players, but you do need that direction. You need someone
Oh yeah.
calling those shots.
Shot
Otherwise,
callers make such a huge
yeah.
difference.
Otherwise, one decision, the Nubish made one decision to push, and the other Des Moines independently made an equally valid decision to start kiting. But in the context of a team, you both need to be on the same page, and I just didn't get the feeling that they were.